All right, welcome everybody. Another edition of It's Still Real to Me. Everything Zaslow Show 2.0, of course, is brought to us by our title sponsor, Anna Jarn Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. You're involved in any kind of an accident. You're dealing with an injury. It was not your fault. You deserve to be compensated. You let Anna Jarn Levine Accident Attorneys put their skills to work for you. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. Our pal here is Joey Levin. It is Sunday night. We're glad to have you here with us. You're watching on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or however it is. We feel like Sunday night's been a good night for us, as far as viewer-wise, live viewer-wise. So we like when you're watching live, you can ask questions, and Joey will pop that graphic up on the screen so we can answer questions. We can get your comments in and do all that kind of stuff. And if you're listening right now in the future, after the podcast has been uploaded, that's awesome too. However you're going to listen, that's great. Joey, how are you this evening? Hey, man.
I'm good. I'm excited. Good win for the Dolphins today. Yeah. Big weekend sports. I think we're going to talk about a little bit of that right here off the top. You got some stuff for me, but yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, so we're going to get into a bunch of WWE stuff, obviously. A lot of news, AEW as well. We're almost at WrestleMania season. It's a really good time of year as far as pro wrestling goes. And we've learned there WWE is I guess they're kind of taking a page out of what AEW does, where day one was a pay-per-view a couple years ago, and now they're just having day one as a special episode of Raw. I like that. I think they should do stuff like that more often.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I mean, I don't think it's not like these one-offs like day one people care a ton about. So make it an episode of Raw, make it free, and make it a big deal. One of these shows where you can promote it like crazy, have big matches on it. And yeah, I mean, we already have one huge match announced for it, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, so again, really glad to have you guys here with us on a Sunday. Figure it's a good time because, I mean, what a shitburger this Buffalo-Dallas game is. Was hoping it was going to be fun because it's kind of important for the Dolphins. It's obviously a horrible game. So we come at you now in that pocket, like in between the 4 o'clock games and the 8 o'clock game, which is also huge for the Dolphin fan because it's Baltimore and Jacksonville. So glad to have you hanging out with us here tonight. First, I want to ask you, though, Joey, UFC 256 last night. Am I right about the number?
296. 296.
Oh, wow. I'm giving you like a year ago. So yeah. 296 was last night. And I just want to ask you a couple things about it, because I'm not as invested in UFC as I used to be. I used to watch probably every month, and I don't anymore for whatever the reason is. I know there was some chaos in the crowd last night. You had a couple guys fighting, which is just that
was the middleweight champion fighting the guy in the crowd that he's supposed to be fighting next.
It's such a bad look for the sport. It's like it comes off so barbaric and out of control.
And I will tell you what, Dana White doesn't tend to do this. He took full responsibility. He said,
"What was the responsibility?"
He said, "I do the seating charts, and they should never have been that." Like, he sat them right next to each other. He said it's his fault for sitting them next to each other. He does all the seating. He gives all the tickets or like the passes out to the fighters and puts them where they're putting them. And he took.
People can really get hurt in a situation like that. It's so bad. But I did want to ask you about a couple things. Number one, Colby Covington lost in the main event last night to Leon Edwards. Now, for folks who don't know, Joey's like way involved in mixed martial arts, so I could ask him and like he really knows. I don't. Colby Covington, like, is he any good? I feel like he never wins a big fight. And then the next part that I want to ask about Colby Covington is he really a piece of shit, or is it just an act?
Okay, so the backstory with the act. I'll start with the act, right? So the backstory with the act is that years ago, I think like he's been around for a long time. He's been in the UFC for a long time. I'm going to say like around 2015, 2016, which actually is an interesting correlation there, right? He was going to get cut by the UFC. Like, he was he came in as this sort of bland, no personality wrestler, Division I, All-American wrestler, came in winning fights. He lost a fight early in his UFC career, but he was winning fights. But I think they were getting ready to sort of cut him. And my understanding and the story goes that when he found out they were going to cut him, he created this persona. which was this sort of, he comes from sort of this, I believe he's from Oregon. He comes from like the school of the Chael Sonnen types. He's, and he knew he had to do something. So he created this heel persona where he was a dick, where he was an asshole to people, where he talked shit, where he was kind of like a little, borderline racist to people, did this whole thing. And then Trump runs for president, Trump wins, and then he goes full, I'm going to be the MAGA character. And a lot of people, I think, that knew him, Jorge Masvidal, who is, King of Miami when it comes to MMA, a lot of people that knew him have always said that it's all an act. This is not who he is. But what I think is he has worked himself into a shoot. I think, to take a turn from pro wrestling, he's been doing this gimmick now for so many years that, I think he is actually a piece of shit. If you listen to the things that he said, look, I don't know the backstory behind Leon Edwards' father and what happened to him and how he was murdered and why he was murdered, but he was murdered. And to say to somebody, I'm going to drag you to the seventh layer of hell and you can say hi to your father, to promote a fight, you're a piece of shit. I don't care.
But I guess the difference between that and what Christian Cage does is Christian's getting approval beforehand.
Exactly. Right. And Christian never said, like, I'm going to drag you down to hell so you can say hi to your father. Now, I wouldn't put it
pretty bad stuff to Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, he said some bad stuff.
No, MJF. It was MJF that said really bad stuff to Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, look, the difference is that there is real heat here. He thinks he has to build the fight. And to be fair, I think
isn't that what happened at the end of Usman fight, where like he was telling Usman, I'm just trying to get you money. I'm trying to sell the fight. Like, wasn't that what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what I think the UFC was sort of banking on with this guy, because I think the UFC is in an awkward spot right now. They're in a little bit of a strange spot. They blew up so much during the pandemic because they were the only sport. They took off to a level that hasn't been seen in MMA. And it just so happened at that time, they had multiple champions that were so marketable, that were so, you could put the company on their back. Francis Ngannou, Israel Adesanya, Kamaru Usman. They had the three kings, the African trio of champions. They were riding that. Francis leaves the UFC. Kamaru gets a head kick by Leon Edwards. Israel Adesanya loses, gets it back, then loses to Sean Strickland, who got in a fight last night in the crowd. They are struggling right now to build stars. The biggest star in the company doesn't fight. His name's Conor McGregor, right? So I think what they were hoping maybe would come out of this is Colby Covington, for better or worse, becomes champion and gets that crowd that is right-leaning MAGA, listens to his bullshit. What happened was he got punched in the face on the street by Jorge Masvidal, had a bunch of legal trouble, didn't fight for a year and a half, clearly looked like it last night. And even Dana White, if you listen to him in the press conference after the fact, was like, he looked old, he looked rusty. And when you're 35 years old, you can't take a year and a half off in this sport. I don't know where we go with this guy anymore. I've never heard Dana talk about Colby like that, because I think they were hoping that Dana was hoping that Colby Covington could be one of his cash cows. It just doesn't look like it anymore. And I think even the people who support him, if you heard last night when he came out, he comes out to Kurt Angle's music. They all chant, "You suck," but they get it. They know the gimmick.
Daps up President Trump right before the fight.
They were cheering for him and booing for Leon. When they went to him after the fight, they were booing him out of the building.
Yeah, it's like eventually you got to win a fight,
right. And the people, he was like, the real heroes are the first responders. Thank you, President Trump. And everyone's booing the shit out of him. And then he finally goes, you know what? You're all poor anyways, or something like that. He's like, they all hate he's getting it from both sides right now.
Man.
But to be fair to your first question, yes, he was a great fighter, and he still might be a great fighter. Leon Edwards beat, in some people's mind, twice the greatest welterweight in the history of the sport. Leon Edwards is the champion. Leon Edwards is what he is for a reason. Colby Covington deserved at a time to be in title fights. There was a time where the consensus was that if Kamaru Usman wasn't the champion for so long, Colby Covington would have ran the division. It's probably not that case anymore. The problem is, to your point, every time he's gotten into a big fight, he gets his ass kicked. and he doesn't have many huge wins on his resume. I think he only has, in his last like 5 wins, only one guy is even on the roster anymore, and it's Rafael Dos Anjos, who's like 40 years old. So I think last night was a big hit to that guy.
Well, it's a good opportunity to tell everybody, all the major sports are in action, including UFC, college football playoffs are getting going. Bet Online, your number one destination for all your sports wagering info. That includes pro football, NBA, NHL. Head to the website today to get into the action and see all the updated odds for the week. Remember, use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Before we get to all the fun pro wrestling stuff, I also want to ask you about Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett's fun, obviously. He's got the whole bar stool behind him as well. Is he for real?
What's interesting about that, though, is I don't know how behind him they are. I mean, I don't even know if they re-upped him after his last fight.
Oh, is that right?
He might still be Barstool. I consume a lot of Barstool stuff. I haven't seen them talking about him as much. I haven't seen him around as much. They might still support him, but he has lost a lot of traction in that world, I think.
Is he for real? He won by decision. Tony Ferguson's pretty washed at this point. Is he for real?
I think he got to the UFC too late. He's exciting. If you go back, I suggest if you're an MMA fan or if you're just a fan of cool entrances, go back to when he was in Cage Warriors in the UK and watch his entrance. It was electric.
What does he do? Oh, just the crowd and everything?
The song that he has is awesome. It's like this house music, bum, 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 and then it builds up, and then it's the song, "Where's your head at?" That, and the whole crowd starts singing with him, and he's jumping up and down. He's got the floppy hair, and the lights are flashing. They don't do as much of that shit in the UFC, and even when they do, you can't really hear it because the announcers are talking, and Rogan's getting his points in and whatever. So it hasn't been as good. I was excited about that when he came over. He's not a champion. No, I don't think. You should finish Tony Ferguson at this point in your career if you're a rising star. He lost his last fight. He got the decision, but he lost his last fight to Jared Gordon. And this is where a lot of his traction fell off. He went to a decision with a guy named Jared Gordon, who's a journeyman. He should have lost the fight. He won the fight by decision on points, got on the mic and said, "Fight of the night, give me 50 G's." And everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" And then he didn't come off of it. He kept on saying it was fight of the night. He kept on saying he won. I think he lost a lot of fans there. He's only 28, so he could build back up. He has a good record. The UFC would like to see him be a star, but he's got to finish people like Tony Ferguson if he's going to be a star.
All right, so I wanted to get a little bit of that from you because I was watching, online on the periphery last night while I was watching the Florida Panthers beat the Oilers 5-1 last night. All right, let's get to the main attraction.
By the way, before we move on, UFC Miami 299, UFC 299 is going to be in Miami. And
did we know that? Like
we knew that, right? But now the fights are starting to come out, and it's going to be stacked.
But just the prices are crazy.
I know. I'm not going to go, but I'm talking about them trying to build stars. Sean O'Malley's going to headline that card.
He's fun.
Sean O'Malley versus my favorite MMA fighter of all time, Chito Vera, who is the only person who has actually beaten Sean O'Malley.
Is Masvidal still under contract?
No, he's out. He's doing his own thing. He's doing his own thing. He's got his own promotion. He might fight some other stuff. But
I'm just trying to think of what Miami guy can they get on the card?
There'll be some guys who train locally. Gilbert Burns is supposed to be on the card. Vicente Luque was supposed to be on it, but I don't think he's going to be on it anymore.
Well, I mean, so many of them train here. I'm just talking about a guy who is Miami.
Yeah, I don't think there is really another Miami. Yeah. I mean, who's more Miami than Masvidal? There's very few in sports, right?
Yeah.
So no, he won't. But I guess anything's possible, but I don't think he's going to be around. No.
All right, let's get to it, man. So this Monday Night Raw, we got a few things here to get to. And by the way, if you're listening on podcast form, you guys know I love CCW, Coastal Championship Wrestling. They run their shows. They're all over the place. Pompano, Kissimmee, Nashville. And I like going to the shows in Hialeah at Unbranded Brewery, which is a great spot. And the promoter, Nelio Como Costa, is going to be on this episode. So if you're listening to the podcast right now, then coming up in this episode, we're going to have Nelio Como Costa on with us as CCW and the NWA are doing a show together January 13th, Revolution Live in Fort Lauderdale. So we talked to Nelio a bit about that, do a little bit of a local professional wrestling scene with him, as CCW's on fire, man. So if you're into that scene, if you're into local pro wrestling, you're going to want to hear from Nelio. He's terrific and a lot of fun. So we'll get to that. If you're listening on the podcast, that is going to be coming up. All right. So Monday Night Raw, man. CM Punk, he signs with Raw. He's officially part of the roster. And then right at the end, when he's, doing the pose and the whole deal, Seth Rollins comes out, man, and does the whole shtick. This is not your home. Don't ever call this your home. I love that they're mixing in, obviously, the reality and putting it on television. I think that's the way to go. I will tell you, though, I am interested. Everyone loves Seth Rollins. They all sing his song in that whole deal. When they eventually fight, and it's not going to be Royal Rumble, because CM Punk has entered himself in the Royal Rumble, all right? I was hoping that, because I'm going to the show, I was hoping we were going to get Punk versus Rollins for the world title. That's not going to be the case. Punk is in the Royal Rumble, but I am wondering, when they do eventually fight, I mean, the crowd's going to be heavily on CM Punk's side, right?
Where's Mania this year? It's in
Philadelphia.
Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, everyone, like, to your point, everyone loves Seth. So, there's so much. It's interesting to see how they build it. I think it could be like a split crowd, or it could just be everybody likes both. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think in general, the WWE crowd still really likes CM Punk, but I do think that a lot of people, he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in certain markets and certain places. Philly's got hardcore fans.
Tell you what, though, man, he's coming off so well right now. Like, all the behind the scenes stuff, all the pictures are coming out with him and posing with everyone, and him
with
touring
every hot
NXT.
chick in NXT.
Well, yeah, that's right. And touring NXT, and like that he wants to be a part of, he wants to help coach and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Shawn Michaels is very into CM Punk. He said a few months ago they should bring him aboard. He's coming off very, very well right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away with what you can get away with it in WWE.
I think there's also a respect factor too. I think Punk knows you can't get away with that kind of stuff.
Right, exactly.
Professional setting,
And this is like his last chance.
Yeah.
If he wants to work for one of the two biggest companies on the planet, and really we're going to have to talk about AEW, but one of the two biggest companies on the planet, and not just work indies or work for TNA, no offense to them, or go to New Japan. He has to cooperate. He has to play ball, or just not wrestle anymore. So that's part of it too. He's just got to understand, like, he's going to play. I also think, to your point from a couple weeks ago when he debuted, like, I think there's a good chance that he's doing the whole nice guy, I'm home thing just to crush everyone's hearts and become the heel.
I think so too. I think the only way that they're going to be able to make him a heel, he's got to do something really shitty. And building up this goodwill and then doing something shitty, I think is the way to do it. Because, everyone loves him right now. But my next question, though, is, all right, so he's in the Royal Rumble. I don't think Cody Rhodes is winning the Royal Rumble. I don't think he's winning it 2 years in a row. I think Cody Rhodes is going to wind up winning Elimination Chamber, and that's going to be his route to get to Roman Reigns. So, meaning whoever wins the Royal Rumble is going to challenge Seth Rollins for the world title, and so Elimination Chamber will be for Roman Reigns' title. I think that's where Cody gets his shot. But are we then saying that Punk's going to come in here and win the Royal Rumble? Because that's what it's kind of feeling like right now.
Yeah, and while you were saying that, it made me a little, like, disappointed for Royal Rumble, because, like, if you already assume that Cody's gonna fight Roman at Mania and Punk is gonna fight Rollins, one of them is winning Royal Rumble, and that's not that exciting to know ahead of time. Like, to go into it.
Well, that's essentially what I'm asking. Like, one of them has to be winning Royal Rumble, and I don't think it's Cody. I don't believe it's Cody.
Well, I think the way they're positioning Punk now, with him entering the Royal Rumble already and saying that he's going after Rollins, although I guess Cody already entered.
Cody already entered it too.
Right. Yeah. They're the first two, right? Are they 1 and 2? What if they're 1 and 2? What if they're also 1 and 2 in the Rumble? That'd be pretty cool.
Gosh, where would you slot CM Punk if you had your choice? Where would you slot him in the Rumble? Is that going to be his first in-ring action? No, right?
No, he's fighting Dom. He's fighting Dirty Dom.
Next week or tomorrow?
Soon. I don't know when it is.
Maybe day one.
Maybe day one, but he's been talking about it. He actually is still doing commentary for CFCC or CFFC or whatever. It's a MMA promotion in Philly. And I think he even talked about it on the show. It's like, I've been waiting to get my hands on that kid since he was 8 years old.
Where would you slot CM Punk in the Rumble?
I mean, based on the fact that I just don't know how much he can go. 30?
No, oh my God.
27?
See, I think the exact opposite. I don't think the crowd will react well if he's gifted a late number and wins the Royal Rumble. I think he's got to get an early number. I think he's got to get an early number and get the crowd behind him.
The crowd reacted pretty well to Cody.
Yeah,
he was 30
true.
and he was gifted the Rumble.
Yeah. So
but it's been done, so maybe that's part of it, right? That
2 years in a row, we're going to do that?
Yeah.
You know?
The thing that's disappointing to me about all this is that I really want Gunther to win the Royal Rumble after last year.
I don't see it.
And this can't be the year.
I was feeling it too a couple months ago. I was feeling Gunther as the Royal Rumble winner. I don't feel it now.
Yeah, just if what we're saying is the case, and these two guys are fighting each other at Mania, or these guys are fighting who we're saying they're fighting at Mania, one of them has to win Rumble.
Yeah, even if the other way around it.
Yeah, even if the other doesn't win Chamber and they just give it to Cody somehow for whatever reason. Or what about this?
Or if Cody's not fighting Roman.
All right, I got that.
That's the way it opens it up.
I got the answer. They eliminate each other at the same time. Feet hit the floor at the same time. Co-champions.
I know.
Co-champions of the co-Royal Rumble winners, and they each get to choose which path they want to go.
It's so risky, though. It's so risky.
That'd be a cool ending, though.
Of course it'd be cool. And it's amazing that they've actually pulled that off a couple of times previously. But it's so risky. Like, what if you actually clearly see one of their feet touch the ground before the other? It's so hard
to get it done right. Make sure you cut the camera at the right time. I mean,
everyone's got cell phones. Somebody's gonna put the video. So the last time that happened, and it was by accident, right, was Batista and John Cena when Vince then tore both of his quads. And that was not on purpose. But they both touched the floor at the same time. And then, of course, before that, when it was actually planned, was Lex Luger and Bret Hart. And man, like, amazing job. It really looked like they both touched the ground at the same time. It's risky. But I think the way around CM Punk obviously winning the Rumble is if Cody's not fighting Roman. And if Cody's not fighting Roman, Punk does not have to win the Royal Rumble. Because I don't believe that Cody's winning the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I think that's the only way.
So who would fight Roman?
I don't know. I mean, there's probably a part of them that hopes it's The Rock still, right?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that'd be something. That would be something. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but the strike's over, so he's got to act.
But since we're not, we're not going to get. Obviously, we're not getting Punk Rollins at Royal Rumble. I thought we would. Is there a scenario where we're getting Punk versus Rollins at Elimination Chamber and not WrestleMania?
I don't know. It feels so much like if you're going to bring Punk back,
it feels like it's got a main event night one WrestleMania, right?
It's got to be at Mania, whether it opens a night or closes a night. It's got to be.
I think it would close. I think it would close night one.
Maybe.
He's a major attraction, Punk. It's a major attraction.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, it.
And if Rollins clearly doesn't like Punk, and I'm talking for real. And if Rollins is going to potentially give up the belt to Punk, the way that you soften that blow, you just main evented WrestleMania.
Yeah. By the way, I like this. Big Nick said the Rumble would be the perfect time to bring up Dragunov and eliminate Gunther to start a real threat.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
If you're going to eliminate him that way. That'd be a fun way to do it because he should win it, but that would make sense. He sees the ghost of Dragunov showing up.
Yeah, that would be cool. I love when you guys send questions, comments, stuff like that. Please do. Let's keep it moving here, man. So what do you think was the reasoning behind Roman Reigns naming Solo Sikoa as the successor as tribal chief? And is it possible that WrestleMania 40, Roman, like, is it possible when Roman drops the belt and maybe it's WrestleMania 40 that's also the end for him? Like, actually the end.
No. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's when he drops the belt, yes. If it's at WrestleMania 40, yeah, I guess so.
It makes me sad.
I have no idea why suddenly Solo is the guy. I don't
either.
I don't know. I don't get it. I genuinely I'm not really sure where they're going with this. It makes me think Roman's holding on to this belt for a long time. It just makes me feel like he's not going anywhere for a long time if they're like starting this whole angle of Solo is the next tribal chief, this and that. It also makes me think Jey Uso is going to take the title off of Roman, not Cody.
God, I see. That's what I'm still holding on hope to, man. Isn't that the best end game there? I know everybody wants Cody. Isn't the best result that it's Jey?
Right. And the thing is everybody wants it to be Cody because they want him to finish the story, but Roman's not the story, the belt is. Like, the belt is the story. So Cody doesn't have to finish the story by beating Roman for the belt. He just has to finish the story before he retires. Right? That's all that really has to happen. Can
I tell you what I think winds up happening with Solo, and like, maybe it doesn't have to be Roman retiring, but maybe when Roman loses, he goes away for a while. Maybe he goes away for a year. So then Solo, he's been given the name Tribal Chief. What if we had, like, I think we could have like a Black Panther scenario where Jey comes back and he's like, fucking challenge. I'm Tribal Chief. And then you get Solo versus Jey, and it's a feud, and for who is the Tribal Chief. I could see a scenario playing out like that.
That'd be fun. Can I just say, cool. Like, I know that Jey is the star of the two brothers, right? But Jimmy is such a good actor. I mean, Jimmy's great. His reactions are incredible. Everything he does in the ring is hilarious. He's so funny. He's so good. I mean, this has really been good for both of them. I know the whole thing was to build up Jey as a main event and as a singles competitor, a solo guy. But Jimmy's personality throughout all of this has been awesome. Last on SmackDown, when he was like feeling himself because he thought he was going to get named Tribal Chief and this and that, and then
the only person in the building that thought that he was going to be named.
But even the backstage segment with him and Solo, that was interesting too, where he was like, they've been back there a long time. I feel like it's a setup. You'd let me know, wouldn't you? And Solo just says, I'm your brother, and then looks at his thumb because that's what you got to do. It's just it's all pretty good stuff. I'd be disappointed too if Roman is done whenever he loses.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like he's losing anytime soon. I go back and forth on it. I'm like, oh, he needs to lose. It's going to be Cody at Mania. And now I'm like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to lose anymore.
I want him to win. I want him to win. So we know, though, the next challenger, we're going to have a 3-way on SmackDown next week, right?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
I think so, which I believe has already been taped, of Randy Orton, LA Knight, and what is clearly heel AJ Styles, right? Because he is jacked to the gills. And which I think is great. I think we all know
you got on the Randy Orton plan.
Seriously, I think we all know Randy, which I'm really glad, because I would love to see another AJ Styles title run, AJ Styles main event run. Orton's going to win here, but I think my first question here is, we're then going to get an LA Knight AJ Styles program, which I think is going to be great. Like, that's what we're headed toward, right?
Yeah, and it'll be really good.
Yeah, really good. I'm into that. So LA Knight AJ Styles will be a lot of fun. And all right, so we're going to get Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, that's going to be WrestleMania. No, I'm sorry, it's going to be Royal Rumble. But my question here is, while we all know Roman is going into WrestleMania as the champion, Randy Orton is still a very credible challenger. He could totally win. We know he's not going to. Totally can win. Very credible threat. Would you be mad if Randy Orton actually did beat Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble?
The thought was going through my head when I was watching SmackDown.
Because the question isn't, would you be mad if Randy Orton beat Roman Reigns? The question is, would you be mad if Randy Orton beat Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I guess that is the question, right?
Yeah.
When he loses, does it have to be at Mania? Yeah, I guess so Randy Orton beating him, no, I wouldn't be mad. I just, for whatever reason right now, and it's probably just recency bias, and Randy Orton's awesome, and he's the old new thing now, and he's back, and he looks great, and he's
In
awesome.
theory, I'm fine with Randy Orton beating him.
Yeah. But yes, I guess after all of this, for him to lose it at Rumble instead of Mania, that would probably...
It'd be a letdown. It'd be a letdown.
It'd probably be a letdown. Although, I mean, listen, the staple of the whole Bloodline thing for the last 4 years or whatever it's been is that they keep you on your toes. We never really know what's happening.
Yeah.
So if they really want to have like the most shocking moment in wrestling history, one of the most shocking moments in wrestling history, have Orton beat him at Rumble. I mean, him losing at Mania is going to be a big moment, but really? I think we'll sort of see it coming, whether it's Cody or Jey or whoever.
I don't necessarily agree. We all saw it coming last year.
Not necessarily.
It was a fucking shock when he retained against Cody. It was so shocking.
Was it? I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
It was crazy that he won. It was crazy.
Yeah, but everything, like every feud that he had up until every feud he's had, everyone's been shocked. They were shocked Jey didn't beat him. They were shocked Sammy didn't beat him. They were shocked Cody didn't beat him. But I'm just saying, like, now when he loses, you're not going to be if he loses to Cody at Mania, you're not going to be shocked. If he has another feud with Jey and he loses, you're not going to be shocked. If he loses to Randy Orton at Royal Rumble, that'd be one of the most shocking things that I've ever seen in wrestling.
It would.
Which is cool. You love those moments. Those are cool moments.
But is that moment cooler than him losing at Mania?
Once the dust settles, you'll probably be like, oh, man, why'd they do that? But in the moment, it'll be a moment that you'll remember forever. It'll be on every top 10 list that WWE puts out on their social for the rest of time.
But at the same time, the moment has to go to someone who needs it more than Randy Orton does. Randy Orton doesn't need it. Like, if you give that moniker to Jey or to Cody...
If he wants to be the best ever, he's got it. He needs it.
Yeah.
He could be the best ever, but not if he doesn't beat Roman.
There's an internet theory on what's going on with Karrion Kross right now.
Yeah, so you saw
there's a reset, they're doing it over with him. And I really liked Karrion Kross in NXT. And it stinks that they haven't been able to really get any kind of momentum at the main roster level. But what's this theory?
Look at the last few guys that he's feuded with.
Who?
Shinsuke.
Okay.
Turn to the dark side. Wears black. Drew McIntyre. Turn into the dark side. Heel. AJ Styles. Turn into the dark side. Wearing all black. There's a theory out there that maybe something's going to happen with all these guys. And Karrion Kross has been masterminding this for the last 2 years.
I feel like we had this exact same theory with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, but not with all these stars, right? Did we? I don't know.
Well, Karrion Kross was part of that theory,
right?
I feel like we
now to be fair, the argument to that is people are saying well, what about Rey Mysterio? But Rey Mysterio did hit Dom after he feuded with Karrion Kross. He did finally beat up his own son after he feuded with Karrion Kross.
I think it's a little much.
Wouldn't that be? Hold on. You're
cool.
telling me Drew, AJ, Shinsuke in a crew with Karrion Kross as the mouthpiece wouldn't be a cool group? I mean,
I do think it'd be cool.
Yeah,
but I think we're grasping at straws with what's happened when you face Karrion Kross and they all turn bad. I think it's a little over the top.
Well, it's they're copying Julia Hart just on a bigger level.
I know.
You fight Julia Hart, you become evil. But I just
except Julia Hart never loses and Karrion Kross never wins.
Right. I was going to say if this is not if they're not leading to something along these lines, then they didn't even change him. They didn't even reset him. That vignette on SmackDown was the same character he's always had. Now he's not saying TikTok.
Yeah, it is too bad because when Karrion Kross debuted on the main roster and Scarlett brought down the sand, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
for Roman Reigns. Like, all right, the time hourglass. Like, that's cool, and like nothing came of it,
And he's a really good talk. He's really good on the mic. He's huge. He's scary looking.
He's got a great entrance.
He's got a great entrance, and he's got, arguably the hottest woman in wrestling with him.
Yeah.
They should be able to do something with this guy.
I know.
For whatever reason, every time they repackage him, it just flops.
I know.
It's Vince's fault. When they had him come out looking like Master Shredder, they ruined him.
Oh my God. I got one more thing here for you, and everyone has obviously picked up on it, but this is something I feel like, I don't think it's recency bias. This is something that WWE has, since Triple H, and Paul Heyman probably has a lot to do with stuff like this as well. But I feel like WWE has been so much better about stuff like this over the last couple of years, so we got the vignette backstage with Bayley announcing herself as an entrant into the Royal Rumble, and everyone's going to have gold. They're all going to capture gold. And the Kabuki Warriors, I like that they're called Kabuki Warriors again. And Io's got the gold, and Bayley's going to win Royal Rumble, and she's going to get the gold. And of course, when she introduces Dakota Kai is the mastermind, Dakota Kai. And the camera stopped. Like, I perked up right away. Oh, and the camera kind of stood on Dakota Kai for an extra beat after Bayley called her the mastermind, which I love that they've been better about doing stuff like this. It's little shit like that you pick up, little Easter eggs. And I also love how, they're not shotgunning them kicking Bayley out. Like, I feel like WWE a few years ago would have kicked Bayley out by now. I like that they've teased it, so it's there, and you don't know when it's going to happen. And now they're doing the promo backstage, like, oh no, I guess everything's okay now, But no, you got the mastermind, Dakota Kai, right there, and this shit's coming. We don't know when, but I feel like they've been so much better at telling longer stories, and I think this is an example of that.
Yeah. I wonder though. Like, there's still a part of me that is like, that there's like an outside chance that Io is the one who gets kicked out. I don't know why.
No way.
I don't know what it is.
She's the champion.
I know, but like Bayley masterminded this whole group to be successful, but really selfishly, she wanted to be the one who's the champion, and she convinces them that she'll lead them the way she led Io if they turn on Io and she's the leader again. I don't know. There's just a part of me that
but it's clearly coming out that Dakota Kai is going to be the new leader of the group.
Yeah, well, she has to be. She has to be.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to talk.
Well, and right, true. And the other three are like so far and away better in-ring performers than her that it's like, okay, you need to kind of like be out in front. Yeah, she's good, but she's not those other three.
But also, like, is she ever going to wrestle again? She's had this knee injury for such a long time.
Always hurt. Yeah.
And maybe this is part of why they're doing this, is to, give her something, because maybe she won't be able to wrestle for a long time, and they need her, maybe making her like the mouthpiece of this dominant group is what her next thing is.
Could they turn on her after Royal Rumble? Bayley's not to be seen for a while, and at WrestleMania, we get Bayley challenging Io for the title, and Bayley wins the title at WrestleMania. Be pretty fucking cool, right?
It feels like Bayley, Io is where they're going to have to go, especially now. I know we're going to talk about the Charlotte injury, but especially now, you don't know what really the future of the SmackDown division is with Charlotte out. It feels like the most natural thing for that to be the women's main event, so to speak, from SmackDown right now for Mania.
Well, and with Charlotte out, we could talk about that now too. Massive bummer. Massive bummer. I think she's the all-time greatest women's wrestler, and now she's gone as far as Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Is Triple H ponying up the money for Sasha Banks now?
I think they may have been already.
Maybe.
It seems like, from what I've read and, the internet rumors and whatnot, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of steam in terms of Sasha Banks to AEW anymore.
And she would be Sasha Banks, right?
In WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know what was funny? When I saw one of the tweets about Charlotte getting hurt, so she's gonna be out for 9 months, and immediately I was like, maybe Andrade knocked her up. I was like, maybe this is where we're headed.
Don't we never know if they're actually still together? I feel like we never know. Are they still together?
I think they're married, aren't they?
I know they're married, but every other month it's like Charlotte removed Andrade from her Instagram. It's
I know. I don't know. I haven't seen that. By the way, Big Nick said it'll be Boss and Hug at Mania.
Yeah, like that would be cool too.
Yeah, but like I don't know if he means like they'll fight or she'll help Bayley win.
No, I think that means that they're going to fight each other.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that'd be.
I mean, the two of them probably have my all-time favorite women's match when Bayley won the title from her at NXT. Who fights Io? Maybe Bayley won the title from her by then.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, possible. That would be huge. Oh my God, Bayley and Sasha at Mania for the title.
Yeah, because think about it. Which is bigger, Io versus Bayley for the title at Mania, or Bayley defending the title against Sasha Banks?
He's saying he thinks they're going to team up at Mania
against Kabuki Warriors. Could be.
Yeah, I guess so. But
but then it's who's
how
fighting
appropriate
for the title.
How appropriate would it be for Sasha Banks's big Mania return to be for the women's tag titles that she walked out of the company over?
Yeah, I think you probably can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be cool too. If it's, I mean, Bayley wins the title from Io, and then now she's got to deal with her best friend who's returned and wants to take the title from her. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. That'd be
all
good.
Right. You got anything else for WWE real quick here?
I do have to ask you this
because,
and I have to ask you it even more so now because I think you were going to move on without even talking about them. Are you starting to get on my side that Judgment Day is just falling apart here? I mean, it's just not great right now.
I don't know that it's not great now.
You know what's great about it? R-Truth is the man. But again, you ain't the top.
Well, you've also been on the page of if R-Truth, if we're doing jokes, then you're not a main event act.
They're becoming a comedy act. They call the clubhouse thing is crazy. They keep calling their dressing room a clubhouse. That's crazy. I almost think they're joking with us. Like it's the corniest shit ever. It's got to be a joke.
I mean, I told you, I think we're heading in a direction where they're kicking Priest out. I've felt that way for a very long time.
Yeah, it feels that way for sure. And now, what would be really funny is if like R-Truth really joins. Like R-Truth, remember? I don't know if people
he becomes their Sami Zayn with the Bloodline.
I guess. I mean, the thing is I think it's too late in his career for this mate because everyone loves him so much. Well, and because everyone loves him so much. But he was an incredible heel for a long time. And also, go back even further. If you go back to him in TNA when he was K-Quick or whatever his name was, go back and watch some of that stuff. He was nuts. Like, he was a crazy heel. So, it's possible. But everyone loves Truth. I was asking for this months ago. I mean, since we started the show, give me more R-Truth. Give me more R-Truth. I love R-Truth being on my TV. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't know, like, if you're the Judgment Day, it's like, where are you at right now?
I love Rhea, though. She can do no wrong for me, man. Oh, my God. I love her so much.
I mean, she's great. She's good.
Oh, I love her so much.
But the whole story. Now, the segment was funny in the ring where he's like, the first thing you got to do is we got to kick out JD, and Finn just starts dying laughing. I mean, that was hilarious. That's great. That's great stuff. But
let me tell
the whole thing is just a little, I don't know. They're not at their peak at the moment. And Dom loses the title.
Let me tell you guys about one of our great sponsors here on It's Still Real to Me. And of course, I'm talking about a huge pro wrestling fan, one of the promoters, the chairman of BRCW, Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. I'm talking about your trusted real estate broker, Matthew H. Mashler, and Signature Real Estate Finder. If you're looking for your dream home in any part of South Florida, look no further than Matthew H. Mashler, your trusted real estate broker, 561-208-3334, or go to realestatefinder.com. If you're looking for your home, you don't know where to go, you don't want it to be a stressful experience, you want to make sure you're getting the best deal out there. 561-208-3334, Matthew H. Mashler. You call him up, You tell him what kind of home you're looking for. Then you talk about what you think's going to happen coming up at WrestleMania. He's always sitting there on the floor for WrestleMania. Talk about what he thinks about Royal Rumble coming up. If you're ready to take your current real estate career to the next level, you could join the Signature team. That's right. The Signature Real Estate Companies, South Florida's industry leaders, ranked number 1 in Boca Raton. They're one of the tops in all of the state of Florida, and with offices all throughout the state: Delray, Coral Springs, Lauderdale, Naples, Palm Beach, Orlando. The Signature team is where you want to be. So if you're looking to buy your dream home, Matthew H. Mashler, 561-208-3334. You're looking to sell your current property, realestatefinder.com, or you're just looking to join the best in the business. Contact Matthew H. Mashler, 561-208-3334, realestatefinder.com. Matthew H. Mashler, your pathway to exceptional real estate experiences. So let's get into some AEW here, Joey. And this is a question you posed, so I'll open it up out there. The devil and his henchmen, they attack Hangman Page this past week. So the first thing I want to ask you, because you floated the idea that Hangman, he would be the devil. And both of us feel like, look, if this devil falls flat, whoever it's going to be, and we're going to find out like at World's End, that's when we're going to find out, I would assume. And your idea of it being Hangman, I thought that's a big reveal. That would not fall flat. That would be a really big deal. They attack Hangman Page, but is that maybe just to throw off the scent? Do we believe that they actually attacked Hangman Page? Are we sure about that?
Are we sure that they attacked him? What do you mean?
Yeah. Are we sure that there's still that it's not Hangman? Like,
oh, well, I don't know. I mean, well, the devil got out of the car while they were attacking him. So the implication is that the devil was, orchestrating it. But yeah, I mean, I think anything's possible. It could just be somebody else in the devil mask.
Do you think they've known the whole time who it's going to be?
Yes. Well, actually, I guess. Yeah, it seems that way, but I don't know.
Because you remember the higher power way back in the day. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Like the higher power, they didn't know who it was going to be. They eventually settled on, all right, we'll just make it Vince.
Well, then there's also there's a precedent in AEW of something similar to this, which was when the Dark Order started.
Right, and that was Brody Lee.
And it ended up being Brody Lee, who was what did they call him? I don't remember what they called him, but
yeah. I know.
But whatever, they teased it. Everyone, Evil Uno was the leader for a long time of Dark Order. He was the mouthpiece, and then they were like, "But there's someone coming," but they always knew they knew it was going to be Brody Lee, whatever. So yeah, I think they probably do know, and I guess it's entirely possible that it's Hangman, but it seems more that now, based off of Samoa Joe's promo on Dynamite and the way the show ended, that whoever the devil is, planted the beer bottle to make it seem like it's Hangman, right? To throw everyone else off of the devil's scent, whoever it is. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm leaning more and more towards it's just MJF, which would be disappointing.
It'd be disappointing.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd be okay with that.
AEW needs something right now. They're in a weird spot.
Dude, heel MJF is something.
Yeah, but he's the biggest star in the company. He's one of the biggest stars in wrestling. He's carrying the company is on his back right now. You take MJF out of that company, there is no company right now. He's everything to them, in my opinion. And that's partially because he's a face. Like, heels don't carry companies. I mean, I guess Roman is different, a little different. But in general, heels don't carry the company. MJF's just so big as a face, right? Eventually he'll turn heel again. He's just so big as a face right now.
So do you think then, is this potentially the biggest booking decision that AEW has ever had? Because I think we talked about, if they take that mask off and it's a letdown, it's gonna be bad.
And I think things are bad right now with this company. I truly do. And I don't get, I know you don't get caught up in it. And I try not to get caught up in what's going on with the rumors and this and that. But man, There's just it's just not that great right now. And
I am enjoying the Continental Classic, though. I have a hard time keeping up with it. Like, if you ask me right now, who's got these points, who's got this, I really couldn't tell you.
yeah, I pulled
But
it up.
I do enjoy it.
It's fine, but do you even remember what it means? What it's for?
Yeah, well, they're making like a new belt for it, right? And it's like a triple crown kind of
It's
deal.
just I don't know, like what does it do for whoever wins it, right? And also like Moxley's in first place in his division, and Bryan Danielson's in first. Are we just gonna get Moxley versus Bryan Danielson? I don't need that. Like, build somebody up. Moxley beats Swerve. What are we doing? Like, but yes, given what it seems like is happening, which is the rumors are that WWE met with Warner Brothers Discovery, right? Which is a huge deal. What?
It's crazy.
Right. About the Raw
Yeah,
rights.
it's crazy.
Which means you would imagine that if WWE made a deal with Warner Brothers, AEW's got to find a new network.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for that company? And it's part of that because, like, this week, unless I'm mistaken, MJF and Christian Cage were not on either show. I had very little desire to watch any of the other stuff. It's all fine, but it's not must watch without those two guys.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, isn't that a problem? That's a big problem.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I would hope that maybe this devil storyline pays off in a way that they introduce something else that's must watch.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think you're right.
You know, and I think they're in a place in the company right now. You know, you got Matt Hardy publicly coming out talking about how he doesn't like how the booking is. You have Jericho on his own podcast saying that everyone should work for Vince at some point in their career. Like, these are just things that you shouldn't be saying when you're working for the competitor.
How about Britt Baker with her whole thing a couple weeks ago, you know?
Yeah, and people tweet it. Are you talking about when she's tweeting about MJF?
When she was tweeting about how I don't get any promo time.
Right, and multiple people have liked tweets about MJF getting too much promo. Like, again, inmates running the asylum and the whole thing. And then Tony Khan just seems like an unhinged person right now. Like, he seems like an absolute, like, if I know I sent it to you, like, in my notes, he did the post, they had Ring of Honor on Friday and he did the scrum afterwards. He went on he went on like a 15-minute rant, and he just, someone tweeted the other day a picture of him in like a Jaguars like suite before he owned AEW, side by side with now. He's lost it. He looks
completely different.
Person. He looks like a crazy person. His hair is all in his eyes, his beard. He looks coked out of his mind. Like, he just
in the recent picture.
Yeah, in the recent picture. But like, basically, someone was trying to get him to answer about the Warner Brothers thing, and they said, like, "What can you give us any update on any recent discussions between AEW, Ring of Honor, and Warner Brothers?" And he went on this whole thing about how our relationship with them is great, and we've done the biggest shows on the planet. And when you're AEW, the nature of being AEW is that you're always under attack. And I accept the attack. I like the fight. And that's the reason I'm still here. And so many people have failed before me. Jim Crockett, Ted Turner, all these people. Well, he's going on this crazy rant about like how he's gonna keep fighting and we're under attack. It's like, bro, like 2 weeks ago, you were tweeting out unhinged tweets about how Triple H and Shawn Michaels are bald assholes.
Yeah.
Who's on the attack? Of course they're going to come after you. You're coming after. You can't play like the victim here. Like, you have set up a company where like your top stars are leaving. And you were supposed to be the alternative for the top stars. And your two biggest stars, arguably in the company, Cody and CM Punk, have now left. Like, yeah.
Can I also tell you, by the way, as far as top stars leaving the company, I think the number one entrance for the Women's Royal Rumble is Jade Cargill.
It could, that would be good. That'd be fun.
I think she's going to be number one
or 30, because I don't know if you want.
No, because I think you put her number one, and she's able to get in there one-on-one against someone, show some moves, just the two of them in the ring together. And then when she eventually gets eliminated, it's like, all right, like, no big deal. She was number one.
But or what about like 15 and she comes in and like takes out a bunch of people?
Clears house. Yeah, that's a way too.
Comes in and clears house, and then she gets eliminated, and you're like, well, at least she got her moment. She eliminated 6 people. She got her spot.
Way too. I think she's going to be number one. I think you get the huge pop. I think you're going to get the whole pomp and circumstance with her walking to the ring in a massive entrance. I think she's going to be number one. But
I'm just telling you right now. I'm saying this so you're prepared. Zach.
Yeah.
Okay. If Jungle Boy is the devil, I'm not watching AEW for at least a month. So don't even bother trying to talk to me about it.
I told you, I don't necessarily think that anymore, but for a while I thought he was the devil.
I think I think there are people who still think he is.
Yeah.
And if he is WWE, only WWE for me, brother.
It would not be good.
It would. I can't keep committing my time to this if that's what happens.
Let's end with this. What's going on with Kenny Omega, man? Diverticulitis, and he's going to be out for like a very long time, right? It's a disaster.
I don't think they know. I don't think they know how long he's going to be.
Disaster.
I mean, yeah, it sucks. I've never actually totally known what diverticulitis is, but it's obvious.
I know it almost killed Brock Lesnar, and I know that guy looks like he's unkillable.
So it's really interesting. It's like, well, not interesting. It's scary, but it's like it's an infection in your digestive tract and like these little pockets of infection, and they can, but it sound like the symptoms of it. I had appendicitis. I had my appendix removed like almost 2 years ago now. And the symptoms sound very similar, like lower abdomen pain, fever, stuff like, whatever. But it's scary because when I had it, I started feeling pain in my lower right ab, like on like a Saturday. And I didn't go to the doctor until like Friday because I just thought I had like a pulled muscle. Mm-hmm. And luckily I went to the doctor and my appendix didn't burst. But I could see it's scary because if you're an athlete and you're just having like lower ab pain and you're just not feeling right, I could see where you're like, all right, maybe I'm just overdoing it and I pulled a muscle, and you just like, you let it ride for a while. And apparently this seems to be what happened with him, where he wasn't feeling great, but it didn't seem like something like emergency. Jeez. And then he went to the doctors and it's like, yeah, you had to have emergency surgery because you could die from it. It's an infection in your, like with an appendix, it's a useless part of your body. The scary part is if you don't catch it in time and it bursts, then you can die. But diverticulitis is in your digestive tract. So it's like, if it just grows, I guess it could be really, really dangerous. It sucks, man. Sucks. It really sucks. It sucks for him.
Especially, well, and let me also add this as far as AEW, because, we're both a little bit down right now. What will help AEW in a very big way is when Ospreay's there. And that's not too far off.
It's like, yeah, that will inject some life.
That's going to help in a big way.
Yeah, that'll be really good. But yeah, for Kenny, and it's not like he's young. It's not like he hasn't had a ton of injuries. Like, this could be a retirement thing.
Well, yeah, I know this isn't an injury per se, but didn't he say when he returned from his last injury, he said, if it happens again, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, and this is not shoulder surgery or knee surgery. This is like a major, like, life-threatening surgery potentially. Sucks. So I hope not, man. Because I will also say, part of what made me so excited about AEW when it started was that we were getting Kenny Omega in America in a major promotion. Yeah. And I don't know that we've seen the peak of Kenny Omega in AEW. Like, he's never totally been presented in AEW the way he was presented in New Japan. I think people have been clamoring for it, like the cleaner, like with the Terminator stuff. And like, they make him, he was always, anytime you see a New Japan match with Kenny, he looked like the biggest star on the planet. And in AEW, he just seemed like kind of another guy, which maybe was his choice somewhat, but I think there was always more meat on the bone there. And I think he's still, if he's healthy, he's still one of the best in the world. So I hope this is not it. I hope this is not one of those things that causes a somewhat early retirement.
All right, man. So we'll get back at everyone. Next Sunday is Christmas Eve. We're both Jewish.
So it does nothing for me.
Yeah. I think we could still do this next Sunday. I hope that works for everybody. I know I'm doing ESPN Radio NFL Game Day next Sunday, but I'll be done with that by 5. Dolphins play at 4:25. We could probably do this again next Sunday, Christmas Eve, at around 8 p.m. ish. I'm game to do it. So
works for me.
Yeah. All right. Excellent job, Joey. Today's show, of course, also presented by Bet Online. Thanks to everybody who hung out with us today. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment. Make sure you got your notifications on the YouTube. I know we had a bunch of viewers tonight, so Sunday night really does seem like a good time for us to do this. Joey, why don't you tell all your fans you'll talk to them next weekend? Go ahead.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys on Christmas Eve. See you guys next week.
You said it all, Joey.
That's all I gotta say.
We'll talk to you guys next week. We love pro wrestling, and we'll see you on another edition of It's Still Real to Me.